Edition, over the hill, Grahamstown, Baintown, from everywhere they're coming. They're the people's choice, the Saxon Superstars.
Hello? Who's in the morning?
Boots!
Yeah, yo, George, we're finishing.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. Of course, we're getting straight to it tonight. We're a few minutes late, but we're going to get straight to it tonight because we got some stuff to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, we got some documents. You see, my table is full of stuff tonight. I think they brought me juice. I can eat something a little stronger than this. I can eat Kool-Aid, at least. Or a little stronger than that. I can eat Vitamalt with coconut water in it. But got some documents, ladies and gentlemen. We got some documents. So we have a serious conversation tonight. Make sure you share this. Make sure you share this. Thank you all for tuning in. We're gonna get into it in a minute. Let me just see who is here. Please remember to send your stars. Thank you so much. We appreciate you for that. Send your stars. Send your stars. We appreciate it. We are broadcasting live. You can see us on Facebook, on Lincoln Baines page, on Coalition of Independence page, or on the Bahamian Evolution page. You can also see us on YouTube on all of those same pages. Um, you can also see us on several different platforms. You'll see it scrolling on the bottom where you can see. All right. And so thank you for all of you who are tuning in. Thank you so much for being a part of it. And so let's see who is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see who is in the house. Who is here? And let me know where you are from. Good night to all of you. Thank you for being here. My name is Lincoln Bain, and it is the 22nd of November, 2022. Abaco is in the house. That's Mel Bryce from Abaco. Thank you for tuning in, Mel Bryce. Good day to you. Gleason is here from Tennessee, all the way from Tennessee. Gleason is here. Thank you. Darnell is watching. Paul Clare is watching. They're on YouTube, watching from there. Marco City, Brenda Ferguson, Leo Butler, Nassau is in the house. Freeport is watching. Oh God, it's starting to move so fast. Okay. Let me, so I could get back. Okay, Angela Clark is in Freeport. King Charles is watching. Thank you. Bimini is in the house. That's Terry Henfield is in the house. Um, Andy Smith, I can see where they're from. Watching Anthony Beckford is watching from Freeport. Mario Bain is watching from New Providence. Orlando is in the house. That's Denise McLean. Roy Ingram is watching from Soldier Road. Welcome. Andy Smith is in New York. Thank you for tuning in. Roy, I know you're going through some cold. It's cold in that house. Terry is from Bimini. Alex from what is this? Alex Curry is. They said King Charles. Oh, King Charles Drive. Oh, that's what they're saying. Um, Freeport. Jacqueline is from Freeport. Taniko Gordon is watching. Pinewood is in the house. That's Angela in Pinewood. Angie is in Freeport. Andrew Hyler is watching from 8 Mile Rock. Welcome, Andrew Hyler. Kelda Gibson is watching. Good evening to you. Melanie Thurston. Leron Lightburn is in Freeport is watching. Brenda, Marco City. Okay. We gotta get to the rest of them. All right, where are we? Where are we? Oh Lord, I missed some of y'all. Let's see if I could get back to some of them. East Grand Bahama. That's Shandino Hall. Abaco is watching us. Marianne Heal. Thank you, Marianne. Marlene Evans is Southern Shores. JJ Cortez in Freeport. Anthony Knowles is in Nassau. Delphine is in South Beach. Brenda Lee is watching from Philly. Welcome. You should be cold too right now. Nassau is in the house. That's Shaquille Williams. Scotty is in Freeport. The night watching from Long Island. That's Keva. Rolando is in Nassau. Michael Lockhart is in Pinewood Gardens. Welcome, Michael Lockhart. Thank you for joining us. Ina, the revolution is starting in Pinewood Gardens. Ina Knowles is watching in Nassau. Darren Lewis Stubbs is welcome, Mr. Darren Lewis. He always encourages me. I thank you so much for your encouragement. He's from St. Barnabas. We got to take St. Barnabas back. Uh, Celestina and Patrick Newbold. They're listening from Freeport. Thank you, Freeport. Good evening, Sunset from Sunset Park. That's Kristen. Miller. Michael Sonny is in Andres. Eddie Smith is in Abaco. Charles says no retreat, no surrender. There will be no retreat, no surrender. All right. Tall Pines in the house. That's Patrick Stewart. Harbor Island. That's Granite Nail Salon and Spa. It's a free advertisement for you. D Bull, Phoenix checking in. Oh, D Bull is in Phoenix. Thank you. Trina Hanna, uh, Trina Adderley, Christina Seymour, Sarah Jane Heald is watching. Thank you. Exuma, Eleuthera, Nassau, and Bimini all in the place. That's Tanya McKell. Ian Jones says the world is watching. Yes, they are. The international community is here and they are watching to see as we release stuff. Good night, Long Island's in the house, Escava. David Brown says, I'm here. Monique Carter is in Freeport. Peter Lewis is in Berry Islands. Philly is in the house. Bamboo Town. Maria Soldier. Bam, bam, bam. That's Brunel Ferguson. Thank you. Marvin Bain is here. Good night to all. Jamal Green is here. Rosalie Claire. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tommy's in Michael. Sean is watching from Los Angeles, California. Flo Wright says it is cold up there. Michael Sunny is watching from Nassau. We got Quell from Nassau, Cheryl Turner from Pinewood. Welcome, Cheryl. Terrence Russell is watching, and Devin is in Exuma. Tanico Gordon is there. Jamal is in Freeport. Shanika Nassau, Wilfie. Okay, I got to stop right there. Thank all of you for tuning in. We appreciate you and welcome. Make sure you take time to share, tag some of your family and friends. Make sure they know what's going on. You know the story. The media doesn't want to see this happening, so we got to make sure we get the message out there. We need a new Bahamas. We have to get that change. Tonight, you're going to hear some things. Again, I don't know if you could still be shocked after hearing some of these things is going on with our government and everything else. All right. But we got to keep going. All right. All right. We are having a cookout, remember? A cookout. Come and get your tickets at the headquarters. They're there every day from 11 to 5. So you can come from 11 to 5 and you can get your cookout tickets or just come on that day on Thursday. This Thursday, and it's only $15. So all the good stuff: peas and rice, honey glazed ham, roast turkey, or fish, or with stuffing, big macaroni, candied yam. Man, I'm getting hungry talking about this. All the stuff that you always get for Thanksgiving, all the stuff, except it's only $15. All the good stuff that you always get. All right. All right, perfect. So it's only $15, and in Grand Bahama, it's only $10. All right. So if you're in Grand Bahama, reach out to us so we can tell you where to get your ticket. Where's the event in Grand Bahama? Is it at Frank's Ice Cream? Sorry, it's at the Taxi Union. It's at the Taxi Union in Freeport. It's at the Taxi Union, so it's the same time, same place. So just go down there, not the same place, but go down there and get your tickets. Support the movement. We can't do this without you. All right. So we just want to say also a special happy birthday to Donnell Mitchell. Special happy birthday to you. We hope you enjoyed your day. Thank you for your support, and we love you and we appreciate you. All right. So thank you so much. Now, we got to get down to business. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been watching, the news internationally and locally. Well, locally, they're trying to, it seems like they're trying to sideswipe this thing. I've been watching social media. There are persons, PLPs are now blaming the FNM. They are posting, PLPs are posting idiotic stuff, blaming the FNM, saying, oh, it was incorporated while the FNM was in power. Jesus. I don't understand why that would even be a conversation. Like I saw this post right here. It says, tag your FNM friends and let them know FTX is incorporated July 2021 under the FNM. And my thing to that is, it doesn't matter. Does it matter when it was incorporated? They might have gotten incorporated under the FNM, but the damage was done under the Breast Civil Party. And the first things first is government is continuous. And the FNM and PLP are one. And that's the first thing you need to understand. We're not going to fall for that trick that our grandparents fell for. Yes, they got incorporated under the FNM. We have the original corporation papers. That is not in any of the names that you know. They started a technology company under the FNM, and it was under Bostwick's law firm, Julian Bostwick and others, before they even came out that they were FTX. But they started doing their damage days after the election. They hit the ground running after the election. That's when the damage started. And when I look through all of these papers that I've been seeing and all the research and investigations that we've been doing, I don't see the FNM all over this. I see the PLP. But the problem I have is that I see our government all over this. I'm going to show you a confession by a senior ranking official in the government that's going to show you how all this was able to happen. It's going to show you how the government caused and allowed Sam Bankman-Fried to do this from their own mouths. I'm going to show you that in a second. So I'm hearing this blame game all over the place. I'm hearing a blame game from I heard the prime minister telling the foreigners, the Americans, that they gotta look in the mirror. I heard Michael Pintard, when he went down to the prime minister's house trying to pretend to be me. Pintard, Halloween is over. You can't be me for Halloween anymore. Try next year. All right. He tried to copy the COI by calling people to come out, and no one came to be with him. But while he was there, he told the U.S. the same thing. He said, "Look in the mirror." He gave examples of Bertie Madoff and these kinds of people. Um, yes, this kind of stuff happens everywhere. I heard, political trolls from the Progressive Party, naming people. They said wealthy people in America got duped. They started naming Tom Brady, and they started naming other people. They started naming, all of these investment companies, these powerful investment companies, Sequoia, etc., that invested. Do you know the difference between the situation with Sequoia and the situation with us? Sequoia is an investor. They're not the regulator. The regulator has a duty to make sure that the company is not committing crimes and doing things out of order. Not an investor. An investor comes, he sees a good opportunity, and he invests. He doesn't, by law, have the right to look and see what's going on. You can ask him for certain things, and they can choose not to give it to him. But the regulator has a duty to the public. The investor has a duty to himself. So let's stop making these excuses for wrongdoing. Last thing I want to say before we start getting into this, I'm disappointed that some of even the intelligentsia in our country, and a lot of people in the financial industry is panicking over this whole thing, and they're saying that they got to be patriots and they got to defend the country because this is going to mess everything up for them. So they got to defend, even though the government clearly messed up on this. They got to defend, and they got to think like a patriot in all of this. And that's where we continuously go wrong. I want to say this to you. That is the same thing that led to thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of children being molested, for example, in the Catholic Church. The same words that Brave David said, tread carefully. You know why? Because everyone said, we don't want to ruin the reputation of the church. You're going to lose souls. You're going to cause people to look bad at the church and not come to church. You're going to cause people to think negatively of God. Just leave it alone. They said, touch not God's anointed. And they allowed the same corrupt criminal activity to continue until one young man grew up. One boy grew up. And he went back after that pastor who had raped him viciously. And everyone covered it up and no one took his side. And they talked bad to him. They told him he's lying on the man of God. And they told him to shut up, leave it alone. And he went back and he killed the priest. And everyone was trying to figure out, why would a boy kill a priest? Who would do that? Who would kill a priest, a man of God? Until they investigated and they caught him and they found out what the priest had done to him. But it was the people who allowed this to continue. And so instead of one priest being dealt with and removed, it became an endemic thing that made the entire Catholic Church look like a poison institute. It destroyed the whole Catholic institution. So I say this to all of my people in the Bahamas. Don't let Brave Davis and them tell you to be quiet and be silent while they rape and rob and molest us. That is what they are doing. That is what they've been doing. Let the chips fall where they may. And if any corrupt government official has done wrong, it's time to clean up this country. Because if we let them get away with it, it will be worse the next time. Didn't we let them get away with Harachi? It got worse next time. We had Peter Nygard. Didn't it get worse with Peter Nygard? Now look where we are. Now it's an international embarrassment, even bigger than the international embarrassment of Peter Nygard. Harachi managed to stay here, but it gets worse and worse and worse. It's like granddad in the house molest a couple of the daughters. They say, man, keep that hush hush. You're going to embarrass the family. Don't, hey, you get feel up, you get rubbed down. Keep quiet. And then later, granddad starts molesting the grandchildren. This has happened in real life in this country. Because someone say, just be quiet. Leave it alone. They can make all us look bad. I remember when stuff would happen at banks, bank managers would get caught stealing, etc. They would ask them to pay it back and fire them because it would cause people to lose trust in the bank. And then the banks caught on. They realized that no. That manager, we'll deal with him because he is not the bank. And we'll fire him so that people will have trust in the bank because they know that if a manager gets caught, that we will deal with him. And so now, the problem is a lot of the international community, and I've been talking to them, sees the Bahamian people as corrupt because we keep putting back these same corrupt people that we keep experiencing their corruptness. We keep putting them back. So they feel our whole society is corrupt. But if we show them that we are going to stand up against corruption and we're going to get rid of these corrupt people, then just like the banks, they would realize that it's not us. When someone goes wrong, we will remove them. United States of America, you could be a senator. They will send you to jail. A mayor, they will send you to jail. They don't care who you are. So tell Philip Brave Davis, so don't tell us to shut up. Tell him to get it together because we're about to show you what really went down. There's so much to show you tonight. I don't even know where to start. There's so much to show you tonight. I'm going to start from the root of the problem, and then I'm going to show you some more. I'll start here. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Philip Brave Davis swearing for FTX. Stay with me now. Now, in the U.S., they're now talking about people who endorse FTX to have to pay a lot of money. All the money they got for endorsements, Tom Brady, Steph Curry, all these people, Shaquille O'Neal, to have to pay that money back and more because they endorsed them. Well, your prime minister also endorsed this company. He was all about singing their praises. But this is just one thing that he did. And I'm going to show you what this led to. And then I'm going to show you the confession. This
FTX
is it.
Digital Markets has left positive footprints throughout the Bahamas. Today, they continue to make positive impressions with the groundbreaking for their new headquarters. Already, they have employed a good number of Bahamian experts, and they will be hiring even more Bahamians with expertise in this area. The presence of FTX in the Bahamas speaks to our ongoing economic recovery after Hurricane Dorian and the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. In truth, the construction industry significantly helped sustain us during COVID, and the building of the FTX campus with a boutique hotel and commercial space will further stimulate the construction industry. Thanks again to Sam and Ryan and his team for identifying a home in the Bahamas, and consistently creating opportunities for Bahamians.
Wow, that sounds like a wife talking about her husband. It sounds so nice and glowing, and it's a glowing endorsement. All right, that's really what that sounds like. That sounds like love right there, love and appreciation. But it also sounds like an endorsement. I'm going to skip over to this that you've seen before also, and this is your prime minister setting the culture for what was to come. Stay with me. The prime minister is now setting the culture from their first conference. He set the culture. This is what he said.
Bahamas. We are so delighted to this conference, which brings together many of the most interesting thinkers in the world of crypto. I grew up on an island called Cat Island, one of our country's family violence. When I was running around the beautiful island with bare feet, causing trouble, I already had big dreams for my country. Though I can't claim that I was pleasant enough to dream about distributed ledgers and fintech. But I've caught on since, and I believe that crypto innovations are going to have a transformative impact across many industries. I'll say from the start, we may be a small country, but we don't intend to let that limit the scope of our ambition. In fact, our history is one of invention, disruption, resilience, and innovation. Consider as just one of the many examples, the establishment of the Pirate Republic in the early 1700s by the famous Blackbeard and others. Yes, the Republic of Pirates wreaked havoc on trade and shipping in the West Indies. But long before the American and French Revolution.
Wow. The man brought up the Pirate Republic. Of all the things to talk about, he's talking about us being pirates. And he goes on to talk about more, but he's talking about us being pirates. So he's saying that you guys are pirates. You're acting in an unregulated way, in an unregulated market. This is the best place for you guys to come because you won't really be regulated. No one is really going to watch you. There's no port authority here, pirates. You just come and plunder and pillage. That's the culture that he was setting up in this here Bahamas. That's what he was telling them we are about. Watch him carefully. That's what he was saying. And so it led to a culture. And so recently, after this whole thing blew up, Philip Brave Davis was questioned about this. And this is what he said.
Has the PLP received any funding, whether campaign finances or any sort of money from FTX?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, and what about cabinet ministers? Are they holding any digital wallet portfolios, anything connected to FTX?
I do not know that. In fact, I'm agnostic to it. I don't hold any wallet, and I'm not aware of any of my cabinet ministers.
So he said, not to his knowledge, Not that it didn't happen. He said not to his knowledge. That means if later he's found out to be lying, he could just say, "Well, I didn't know." Like how he's doing now with the BC situation. Oh, I didn't know. They sent it to the Ministry of Finance. Oh, that's a big place. I don't know. That's lying brave, y'all. That's the one who said that the Bahamas place had insurance in Parliament. He should have resigned. But what's interesting there is he says he don't even have a wallet. Let me tell you something. We're moving into the 21st century. We're deep in the 21st century now. This is 2022. We need a prime minister who is in not with the future but with the present. We need a prime minister who have a wallet. Philip Brave Davis, I have a wallet, and we're not talking about the letter wallet. I don't carry them. I have a digital wallet. You need to have a wallet. You are promoting the Bahamas moving into the 21st century and being the digital hub, but you don't even have a digital wallet? How could you deal with this stuff and talk about this stuff and you don't know what's going on? That's why you guys are lost. Let me actually hear some more about what he had to say.
Pressed as to whether government invested in the now defunct company, he gave a very quick and assertive
No.
But what about other suggestions that high-ranking PLP officials have been seen traveling internationally alongside FTX bigwigs? Like this shot of senior government advisor Jerome Fitzgerald seen in Chicago with the company's president.
I know in Chicago, they opened an office. They invited me to speak to the opening. I was unable to do so. And Jerome would have accompanied me on that trip. Whether he went, I don't recall, but I had other engagement, and I could not make that trip.
And then there were assertions that due diligence was...
Wait. He said like 6 different things at one time. He couldn't go, but Jerome went with him. And then he couldn't make it, but then you don't know if Jerome went. But y'all listen to this again, man. I don't know what. Listen, I really thank what's his name, Theo Seeley, for asking some tough questions. But Theo, you missed this man's answer. I mean, it was back and forth so much that it would hypnotize you. But he literally said, listen again.
To speak to the opening, I was unable to do so, and Jerome would have accompanied me on that trip. Whether he went, I don't recall, but I had other engagement, and I could not make that trip.
And then there were assertions.
Listen, man, Brave, make up your mind. Yeah? Let me just play this.
Diligence was not followed when allowing FTX to operate here after relocating from Hong Kong. Well, the Prime Minister is resting on his statements that government's hands are clean, but he's not happy at all with the way the saga is unfolding in international headlines.
I think it's unfair. It's an unfair characterization. Most of what is being said is the posturing of persons who would wish to have the liquidation under their control.
So as far as he's concerned,
they asked him about due diligence. The fact that the international community is accusing the Bahamas of not doing due diligence. His answer is what you just heard, a non-answer. And to cast the blame on people saying that they're only saying bad things about the Bahamas because they want to control the insolvency. Listen, Fox News don't want to control the insolvency. Bloomberg don't want to control the insolvency. Reuters, the Financial Times, they don't want to control the insolvency. They are looking at what they are seeing and they are disappointed in the Bahamas. Why do we keep putting the blame anywhere else? But that leaves us to deal with, I'm going to cut the rest of that because I really can't take hearing this man's voice. That leaves us to that same question right there, the due diligence. Because Sam could not have done this without the due diligence. And their answer is always, oh, but other people were duped. Other sophisticated investors and companies were duped. How do you expect our little Bahamas to have done something? How do you expect us to have known what went down. And so while Lying Brave denies that he knows anything, that he didn't see anything wrong, he don't know what you're talking about. Before I show you the confession of a government minister, I just want to remind you who Lying Brave is.
Before the break, the question put to you was, people still associate you with the past administration that was labeled as corrupt and so forth. Do you believe that is to a negative with your electability? And how do you separate yourself from that and into what many people are now calling for, saying we need new blood? People are now saying we don't want the PLP, we don't want the FNM. They're two of the same. What do you say to that? That is a tough hurdle for any party to overcome. What do you say regarding that?
Well, first of all, I served in the last administration, the Christie administration, as Deputy Prime Minister with other portfolios. I'm not ashamed of having served for those 5 years. And I can say that, and I say it publicly. Let me just say that the Christie administration did what they thought was best. The priorities and choices made was what they thought and I thought was best at that time. The label of being corrupt, I reject out of hand.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Because I'm not aware of any of my colleagues in that cabinet having committing any corrupt act.
Are you serious?
I know nothing. Nothing.
Marathon Member of Parliament Jerome Fitzgerald had his emails to Bahamas developer Sarkis's Merlion Prince.
The video goes on to show you examples of Jerome Fitzgerald and Alison Maynard and others in the Progressive Party who had issues with accusations with corruption. All right, even though he said he saw nothing. That's the same Brave Davis. That's last year. That's months ago, and now he's still lying. And so I'm going to take it to the big question. How could this have happened? How? Well, the SEC, sorry, the Bahamas Securities Commission, the BSC, the Bahamas Securities Commission, I always can mix them up with the SEC, so I'm sorry for that. The Bahamas Securities Commission has oversight over this new DARE Act and all of the companies registered under this DARE Act. The Bahamas Securities Commission has done a great job over the years dealing with the financial industry, and they have experience in that. And so I'm gonna give them their kudos for the way they have kept our financial industry running and making sure that everything worked properly. But I think they're in over their heads as it relates to this new digital era. This Bahamas Securities Commission put some new persons in place. Some new executives were put in place to deal with this. And several of them seem to be connected to the Progressive Party. I'm going to name them for you afterwards. But that's not an issue because boards are normally filled with persons who support a party. But now we have a problem. If that is the case, wouldn't this be why the international community wouldn't trust this board to be investigating what's really going on? Wouldn't it be? But I want to show you them in their own words. When they started this DARE Act thing, they had a whole seminar. They had a seminar, and in this seminar, they invited people in the digital industry. About 500 people attended online. And after they gave their little speech, just saying what the new law was going to encompass, et cetera, this DARE Act, or what not the new law, but what the DARE Act was going to, what the DARE Act included, then they had question and answer. This year. They had question and answer. They couldn't answer none of the people questions. And they were literally deflecting. They were lost. This is embarrassing. This should have made everyone know that we're in trouble. Let me let you just see an example of how they were answering these people's questions. Watch this.
Then here, if a service provider wraps the sand dollar, right, which is your digital version of the Bahamas dollar, if the service provider wraps the sand dollar with a token protocol, moving it on-chain, what regulatory jurisdiction would it fall under, given
So
that
I
it's
know,
digital fiat but with crypto characteristics?
so I know that there's a temptation to ask these very, very technical questions. I think though that those types of questions with respect to structuring is best suited to discuss with a legal advisor. And I would prefer not to address it in this forum. Or another option would be to send that type of question in to SCB FitLink, and then we can address it there.
Right.
Whoops, I'm sorry. Sorry about the audio. So that is Ms. Rowland. She is, thank you. That is Ms. Rowland. She is in charge of the Securities Commission, and she did a wonderful presentation. And she did a read from a PowerPoint presentation, and she was trying to convince the world that we have this new regime in place, and that we would protect the world because we understood this, and we're groundbreaking in all of this. And the minute the people started asking questions, she couldn't answer the questions. It was mind blowing. It was mind blowing. And she literally was telling them, listen, I know you're tempted to ask these technical questions, but send it in or do something. It was embarrassing. She started laughing and giggling, and it's like, that's not a technical question. That's a regulatory question. They're asking you if this is what they're doing, who does it come under? That's a simple question you should have been ready for. But they couldn't answer it. And it was an embarrassing series of questions just like that made anyone watching that know that we have a serious problem here. And so someone else asked a question of her, and it was, what is the minimum requirement? Simple question, right? What is the minimum requirement for becoming an exchange? This answer, this confession, is going to shock you. Because we want to know, what did Sam have to do to qualify to come to this country, say they have billions of dollars, but he ain't had nothing? What is the minimum requirement? That's a good question, right? That's a good question? Okay, studio honesty, that's a good question. Well, they asked this months ago. All right? Now let's hear the minimum requirement that our regulatory and this their act that they're bragging about. Let's hear the minimum requirement.
So I think the question is, what are your minimum requirements to be a digital exchange?
Of course, an exchange.
So just you understand, they'd really asked, and it sounded like she was fumbling. And so the gentleman came back and said, listen, I think what the question is what, to make it clear, what is the minimum requirement to have an exchange? All right, now watch the answer, Bahamas.
So I think the question is, what are your minimum requirements to be a digital exchange?
Of course, an exchange that is listing assets is expected to do some due diligence on those assets that they are listing. But in terms of outside of due diligence, the Commission does not prescribe any minimum requirements for the exchange.
Now I know only me didn't just hear that. There is no minimum requirement. They are expected to do their own thing. Now I can play that for you again because you might still be in shock, right? But I want you to listen to this.
So I think the question is, what are your minimum requirements to be a digital exchange?
Of course, an exchange that is listing assets is expected to do some due diligence on those assets that they are listing.
So the company that wants to be an exchange has to do their own due diligence on the assets that they are trying to offer. Y'all heard that, right? Y'all heard that come out of her mouth? This is the director of the SEC. Sorry, this is the Bahamas Securities Commission. She said they have to do their own due diligence on the product they offering. Now, what's the rest?
Of outside of due diligence, the commission does not prescribe any minimum requirements for the exchange.
Outside of due diligence, there's no minimum requirement. Due diligence means we need to check to see that you are who you say you are. There's no minimum requirement. Remember when I showed you the act, section 11 of the act, that told you exactly what the law was on that, and that there was nothing there, that there was no real financial requirement. I showed you the act, and nothing in the act. All it said is the person has to meet whatever requirements they may be asked to meet. Remember that? That's the act. That's section 11 of the act. Now let me show you why that's dangerous. Because this is the big one. This is the bomb you're about to drop here. Because they asked the next important question. That was the important one, but this is another important one. In fact, this is the first question they asked her. They asked her, what are the capital requirements for becoming an exchange? Now, audience, is that a good question? Yeah. What's the capital requirements? Because, if I want to get a government contract, I have to get a bond. I have to have some capital. I have to put up 10% bond to show that I qualify. If I want to open a bank, I got to show what my capital is. If I want to open an insurance company, what is my capital? When I was getting a license under ERCOT, I had to show them my capital. They wanted to see everything. But now they're going into crypto, and now they asked her, this is a government official, they asked her, what is the capital requirements for having an exchange? Ladies and gentlemen, somebody in the audience say you must be BLB. That is not the requirement. Y'all behave, you're not saved. Although it might have been. No, Sam couldn't have been a PLP. Or was he? Ladies and gentlemen, the capital requirements for that Sam had to go through. Here it is.
Now, for our first question. Mr. Earl, earlier you mentioned the magic word capital adequacy that certain players need to display. Would you be able to share more information about what the parameters are here?
So I think, so one of the things that we recognize about this space is that a lot of the actors look different. So as opposed to in the securities space, where one securities firm is very much similar to another, we see in this space that a lot of the firms, their business activity is different from each other. So we thought that at this point, it would probably be premature to prescribe regulatory capital in the way that we do in other arenas. And so the way we address regulatory requirements at this time as opposed to prescribing them, is that we ask that they be addressed in the governance framework of the organization. That is, the directors periodically review the regulatory capital needs of the organization based on the risk, based on the size of the organization, based on the complexity of the business activity. Certainly, once the commission goes to examine an organization, the commission would review this process, review what has been applied, and we may make a determination that the organization really thought through the process in a very robust way that the commission would expect, or we might say that they may not. But at the moment, we leave it within the framework of corporate governance. I anticipate, though, that we will address this issue probably in a more prescriptive way, maybe even as early as next year.
Okay, thank you.
I am so sorry. It's probably better that we didn't have any sound just now. But I'll break it down again for you. The woman said that she didn't think it would be fair right now. Well, they didn't think it would be fair right now for them to have any minimum requirements for capital because there's different types of companies coming into this, and so they thought it would leave it within their own corporate governance, which means the corporate governance of the company itself. They determine whatever capital they determine they need in order to do what they want to do. And she said, maybe we'll address it sometime next year. We'll look back at it and see if we need to make some change. Ladies and gentlemen, Sam had to be the one to recommend that to them. You see, everything Sam was saying, you heard Brave saying later. I can show you that. Everything. It seems like every recommendation was coming from Sam. I can show you that tonight. Jesus. Let me play that again for y'all one more time. Now, they were bragging about this new regulatory regime that would protect this industry and safeguard the customers, etc. How you can safeguard the customers if you have nothing in place, no minimum requirement for capital? Sam didn't have to have no capital. And y'all let Sam tell y'all to put that in there because he had none. And if y'all had asked him to provide his capital, he couldn't provide none. Sam did not cause this. The Bahamian government, in their ignorance and folly and incompetence, caused this. It was corruption. Sam was all over this, telling them how to draft this and what to do. I am convinced of that. Let me play that for you one more time. Someone tag Philip Brave Davis, the Minister of Finance, because this right here is corruption. We as a country promised to protect them, to protect the customers, the investors, and everybody else. But you didn't have a minimum requirement for capital when Sam is collecting people's funds? Let me let you hear this one more time, because the news ain't gonna play this. Y'all share this. The news ain't gonna play this. This is what they running from. This is why the government was quiet. This is why they are deflecting. This is why Fred Mitchell is acting womanish instead of answering the questions, answering the concerns of the international community. Because Singapore has the same digital rules, new digital rules that we have, but they have capital requirements because they're not corrupt. This is what your new the government did. They can't wait till we get to this. They opened up the floodgates and rolled out the red carpet and gave him everything he wanted. Everything. Watch this.
Now,
again.
for our first question. Mr. Earl, earlier you mentioned the magic word capital adequacy that certain players need to display. Would you be able to share more information about what the parameters are here?
So I think, so one of the things that we recognize about this space is that a lot of the actors look different. So as opposed to in the securities space where one securities firm is very much similar to another, we see in this space that a lot of the firms, their business activity is different from each other. So we thought that at this point, it would probably be premature to prescribe regulatory capital in the way that we do in other arenas. And so the way we address regulatory.
They thought it wouldn't be good at this point to prescribe regulatory capital minimums, requirements, because you have different type of companies coming into this. Jesus. Look how she is stumbling and fumbling and looking all over the place. When I was a police interrogator, they told me when you see them looking up and to the right or up and to the left, they're making up a story, they're lying. Huh? Let's hear from her one more time. Because this is what led to the embarrassment of this entire country. The international community can see this. They were there. 500 of them were there on this Zoom call. Saw it coming. Many of them break off running. 500 of them was there. Guess who signed up right away? Sam. A couple came later after they said, okay, look at this happening. But 500 was there. Sam signed up. Listen to the rest.
Requirements at this time, as opposed to prescribing them, is that we ask that they be addressed in the governance framework of the organization. That is, the directors periodically review the regulatory capital needs of the organization.
So she said the directors of the company, that's their business. Let them determine the capital requirements of their own company. So let Sam have a whole company evaluated on tokens that are imaginary tokens, and let him say his imaginary tokens is all he needs to be required to have a license and be regulated in the Bahamas. Sam had to be the one to tell them this.
On the risk based on the size of the organization, based on the complexity of the business activity. Certainly, once the commission goes to examine an organization, the commission would review this process, review what has been applied, and we may make a determination that the organization really thought through the process in a very robust way that the commission would expect, or we might say that they may not. But at the moment, we leave it within the framework of corporate governance. I anticipate, though, that we will address this issue probably in a more prescriptive way, maybe even as early as next year.
Okay, thank you for
Do we need any more evidence that the government itself caused this because Sam could not come here by himself. And if Sam was asked to qualify, he could not qualify. The other companies that are here, they actually qualify. Deltec Bank, they have the capital that they need. OKX, they have the capital that they need. Allison Maynard formed that company too. But that's another discussion for another time. They have what they need. This, Sam, and the PLP government that was all over him, they set this up to fail. It is the incompetence of this government. This is not a happenstance. This is not the rules are in place like with Bernie Madoff and then he just was stealing. No, this is the government set this up to allow this fella to do what he did. They are culpable and liable to all of the clients. The government of the Bahamas. They even edited. They amended the act, the DARE Act this year, and still didn't put a real requirement in there in the law or the regulations or the policy to cause you to have a certain amount of capital in order to operate. What Sam was running was more like a bank than an exchange because he was taking in customers' money and he was distributing the money and trading with the money, acting like a bank. So how is it the bank has a certain structure and he doesn't? Even more so, there should be certain requirements, minimum requirements on what he was doing because it's set up from the crypto world where everything is secret and it's difficult to see who is who. You cannot know your customer. So if you're going to regulate, there should be minimum requirements to make sure that the customer is safe. How could the government of the Bahamas say that this new DARE Act keeps the world safe, the crypto world, where you could host it here, if you won't even make sure that the company that is operating has enough capital to do what they're doing? This lies at the foot of the PLP. Yes, the FNM started the DARE Act and it was very inadequate and they were garbage. We fired them already. The PLP is at the wheel. And it was them all over this young man. All over him. All over him. They was making all the money. They was thieving all the money with Sam. And this is why you have right now, and I'm going to show you in a minute, that Sam actually confessed that he was doing a Ponzi scheme. While he was talking to the Bahamas government, he went public and described what he was doing as a Ponzi scheme. Y'all ain't hear me. If the Bahamas government had gone on Google for 3 seconds and researched Sam, a whole series of videos would have popped up where Sam, this ran in April, where Sam would have been heard to say and describe everything he was doing. Sam confessed to everything he was doing and what the result was going to be before it happened. I can show you all that. Sam confessed from in April. And he said, it's a Ponzi scheme. Y'all don't believe me. I can show you in a minute. But now we have people talking about the Bahamas like we're garbage. Watch this conversation here. Watch this conversation. This is how they're talking about us around the world because of what Brave Davis them allowed. See there.
Wall Street Journal reporting FTX tapped into customer accounts to fund risky bets. Like, funneling money to Democrats, donating to all sorts of random different places, and investing in other cryptocurrencies using customers' money. They got away with this because they're in the Bahamas and there's no oversight. That's setting up its downfall. Well, it turns out tens of millions of dollars was going to fund Democratic causes.
You hear what he said? You can get away with this because in the Bahamas there's no oversight. How do Americans know this and we didn't know this? How we letting brave them just say anything they want to say? The Americans researching from over there, and they know this. But Bahamians sitting at, oh Lord, y'all leave brave, man. He tired. He been traveling. Y'all give him a break. Yeah, someone say tread lightly. In the name of Jesus, y'all leave my prime minister. Because he didn't know what Sam was doing. The whole international community could see what he was doing. Our media isn't asking the right questions. How did I pull up that video and our media hasn't pulled that up? How is that? Or how we look at them talking about the Bahamas. Man, I have to travel, man. I have to start telling people I'm Haitian, man. Or Jamaican. Because the Bahamas has reached a point of no return. See Tucker Carlson then.
Portnoy is a sports guy. He's obviously the founder of Barstool Sports, sports media giant, online gambling giant, also an investor. He joins us on set now to assess. So that's really, thank you, Dave, for coming. That's really the question. You are, I don't know how to describe your investing, but it's something you do on the side, but you're into it. So you're not like a trained expert.
Yeah, FTX was an advertiser of ours.
Exactly, but you're an enthusiast. What, I mean, was this obvious to you that there's something weird going on?
No. I don't know how it could be obvious to anybody, a normal citizen. I mean, if you see Tom Brady pitching FTX on the Super Bowl, you're probably going to believe it's a legitimate thing. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't. As the stories have come out in crypto, I'm not paying a ton of attention. There was articles, I think CoinDesk wrote it. The thing that's shocking to me, and I'm in the gambling field. We're rigorously regulated. Like, they know what I did 20 years ago.
Yes.
Everything. If I do one thing weird, I hear about it. There's companies writing articles. We knew this guy was in the Bahamas. Why? Because it's unregulated, living in basically a Paul and Morris penthouse with like 20 people who were all having sex with each other, running this, and it was well known. I mean, if somebody did that in the United States, and meanwhile, he's cavorting with politicians at the highest level of government, the fact he wasn't investigated, to me, just shows what a lot of this country is all about. People are just trying to make money. They're being dishonest. They're saying the right things to make money, and he's lining everybody's pockets. It wasn't obvious to me. But if you're meeting with Gensler and you're meeting with politicians, I don't know how in a million years they didn't know that.
That's how they're talking about the Bahamas. You're running around with the politicians. No way politicians didn't know. You see how they're talking? Now we sitting here trying to make excuses for our party while they're looking at all of us a certain way, every single Bahamian, because we're sitting down and we're allowing this. Like they said, the first thing you should have asked is your assets. The government of the Bahamas should have looked at that.
At the same time, they were hiding their balance sheets. So when auditors came, they didn't know what was in their balance sheets. They didn't know that like they would look at the assets and like, okay, the only assets on your books are your token. That doesn't make sense. Where's the other assets? Don't you have other assets? Like, wait a minute, your own token is your own that doesn't make any sense. So it wasn't clear where their customers' money was even going. And then we know. Wall Street Journal reporting FTX tapped into customer accounts.
The customers' money was going to the Progressive Liberal Party. That's where it was going. I can show you in a minute. That's where the customers' money was going. And the world can see this. The whole world. This dude has a reputation of paying off politicians. The world knows that. And so he was actually doing an interview. And they asked him, why does he choose to pay so much money to politicians instead of just giving to charity? He said, well, I give to charity too, but I pay the politicians because I could get the policies I want to get. Watch him.
You decide it was politics and not something more charitable to spend your money on?
It's a good question. And, to be clear, we have also given, I think, upwards of $100 million this year to
I'm not saying you're not charitable, right?
But
you've chosen to engage politically.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I think that what it really goes down to is two things. And the first is that policy really matters, right? I think COVID is one of the clearest examples of this, where we did not, as a country or as a world, frankly, have a coherent response to COVID. And we missed in both directions.
So buying buying policy, he admits it right there, right? Buying policy is a good use of my money. I'd much rather give it to corrupt Democrats than charities, right? Because I can protect myself. When I'm giving all of this money and funneling it, it helps me. It helps me, helps my family, right? It protects my business.
Sure. Yeah. He regularly had his fingers in the pot of people who were supposed to be regulating where he was sleeping.
Like the beanbag industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bruce Fenton dug on this. He said,
so his reputation is paying off politicians. And he admitted that is what he does. That is what he's good at, and he does it to get his way. So you telling me he pay off politicians everywhere else, but only in the Bahamas, where we are, we have good, decent Christian politicians who don't take money from nobody. This is the only place he gone to and didn't give them no money. The only place. But that's his reputation. He's admitting to that. That's how he operates. But they asked Brave Davis if the PLP got any money. Brave Davis said, no, not his knowledge. Of course, the PLP won't get the money. They're going to give it to someone on the peripheral, someone who is connected. But if they get cash, they can say, well, that's him get that money. You can't prove that came to us. Like with Arachi, he wrote it to the nieces or nephews of the politicians, or to their aides in one instance. All right? They wrote it to people around them so that you couldn't directly connect it. That's an old political trick. That's mafia. Because that's how the PLP is behaving. That's how they behave. So yes, he can come and he can deny and say, oh, they didn't give it to the PLP. Of course you wouldn't let him give it to the PLP if you're doing all this. We know that. But this was your boss. This is the man who was telling you how to do all your policies. Y'all notice how Brave Davis all of a sudden, since Sam reached here in September, started talking all this climate change talk. Y'all want to see where he get that from? Anyone see where he get that from? You want to see? All right. I want to see that too. That's an old trick that Sam taught him. That's the old rope-a-dope. All right? You talk about climate change, and you can do any foolishness you want to do. No one can question you, and you're not offending anybody, so you're safe. But it looked like you're doing something. Here is it.
And he then admits in an exchange with a reporter from Vox News, VOX, that he did it because it gave him the, as you used to call it,
what?
The scandal condom.
The scandal condom.
Do you remember the scandal condom?
Yes, it keeps
Clinton Global Initiative.
Yeah, if you put everything in the climate change, no one comes after all of your philandering or whatever you're doing. Hunter did that. Everybody did that. I should do that. Why didn't I think of that? My life would be so much better.
Anyway, that's what I was just thinking, that he really did that, and it exposes it. But
that's the whole trick. Just start talking climate change and do all the foolishness you want to do. You're starting to put the pieces together. I hope you're starting to put the pieces together. This Sam old strategy. This is strategy. Oh my God. Now, I'm going to let you hear from Sam himself. This Sam. Sam actually was asked to describe the industry and what he was doing. And I want y'all to see how he described what he was doing. He described it as an empty box with nothing in it that you just give a value to. And he said eventually people just started putting money in the box. And then more and more people start putting money in the box. Till the box had, so much money. You say you start getting a loan on that box, that empty box, and you start doing everything he did. This is in April. He said these words. I want y'all to watch this. He described the whole scam ahead of time. Maybe that's why when he went to Barbados, maybe Barbados Googled him. You all know when you go to open up a bank account in the Bahamas right now, they Google you. They actually Google you. They go on Google and they see if you're in there and they pull your file off Google. The banks here in the Bahamas do that now. You mean to tell me no one Googles him to see this? Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. This shows you how he laid out, this is about 7 minutes. He laid out the whole entire scam in April. Here he is.
You start with a company that builds a box. And in practice, this box, they probably dress it up to look like a life-changing, world-altering protocol that's going to replace all the big banks in 38 days or whatever.
You know what he said? He said you just take a box and you dress it up like some life-changing, world-changing thing that's going to replace banks in 30 days or whatever. He's describing what he did with his fake token.
For now, actually ignore what it does, or pretend it does literally nothing. It's just a box. Anything cool that happens because of this box is gonna ultimately be usable by, governance vote of holders of the X tokens. They can vote on what to do with any proceeds or other cool things that happen from this box. And
make people feel like, we're going to call this box the X token, and it's going to make it feel like anything cool that this is going to do in the future, that you would have some say and you can vote and say what could happen with this whole thing, kind of like blockchain or whatever, everyone has participates or whatever, and whatever the hell he's saying. Listen.
And of course, so far we haven't given a compelling reason for why there ever would be any proceeds from this box. So that's sort of where you start. And then you say, all right, well, you got this box and you got X token, and the box protocol declares or maybe votes via on-chain governance or, something like that, that what they're going to do is they are going to take half of all the X tokens that will have reminted, maybe 2/3 though, 2/3 will have for X tokens, and they're going to give them away for free to everyone who uses the box. So anyone who goes, takes some money, puts it in the box, each day they're going to airdrop, 1% of the X tokens pro rata amongst everyone who's put money in the box. That's, for now, what X token does. It gets given away to the box.
So they're going to make you some promises. They're going to make some money from this box. It's going to cost more people to put money in the box, but it's just really still just a box. And it don't really do anything.
Now what happens? Well, X token has some market cap, right? It's probably not zero. Let's say it's, $20 million market cap. And a bunch of arbitrageurs
from like first principles, it should be zero, but okay.
Sure. Okay. I completely reasonable comment.
Is well known in the industry, and he's telling them, no, the box is worth zero. Because he's saying now that people are actually using the box, even though it's just a box, that's a market cap now, and you could just say, okay, it's valued $20 million. And it's really valued zero. I continue, watch, stay tuned. It's coming.
Quite true, but when you describe it in this totally cynical way, it sounds like it should be zero. But go on.
Describe it this way, you might think, for instance, that in 5 minutes with an internet connection, you could create such a box and such a token, and that it should reflect it should be worth $180 or something.
He's saying only value this should have is the fact that minutes to create this on the end of this, it should value maybe $180, but it's worth nothing. Right? Today it's coming. Wait.
Cap for that that effort that you put into it. In the world that we're in, if you do this, everyone's going to be like, ooh, box token, maybe it's cool. If you bought any box token, that's going to appear on Twitter and it'll have a $20 million market cap.
It shouldn't have any market cap in theory, but in practice they always do. Okay,
that's right. So, and obviously already we're sort of hiding some of the magic in that, right? Some of the magic is in how to get that market cap to start with, but whatever. We're going to move on from that for a second. So, X tokens being given out each day. all these like sophisticated firms are like, huh, that's interesting. Like if the total amount of money in the box is $100 million, then it's going to yield $16 million this year in X tokens being given out for it. That's a 16% return. That's pretty good. We'll put a little bit more in, right? And maybe that happens until there are $200 million in the box. So, sophisticated traders and or people on crypto Twitter or other sort of similar parties go and put $200 million in the box collectively, and they start getting these X tokens for it, right? And now all of a sudden everyone's like, wow, people just decide to put $200 million in the box. This is a pretty cool box, right? Like this is a valuable box, as demonstrated by all the money that people have apparently decided should be in the box. And who are we to say that they're wrong about that? Like, this is, I mean, boxes can be great. Look, I love boxes as much as the next guy, right? And so what happens now, all of a sudden people are kind of recalibrating. It's like, well, $20 million, that's it? Like that market cap for this box? And it's been like 48 hours and it already has $200 million, including from like sophisticated players in it. So like, come on, that's too low, right? Like, and they look at these ratios, TVL, total value locked in the box, as a ratio to market cap of the box's token. And they're like, 10x, that's insane. 1x is the norm. And so then, X token price goes way up, and now it's a $130 million market cap token because of, the bullishness of people's usage of the box. And now all of a sudden, of course, the smart money, it's like, oh, wow, like this thing's now yielding like 60% a year in X tokens. Of course, I'll take my 60% yield. Right, so they pour another $300 million in the box, and you get a site, and then it goes to infinity, and then everyone makes money.
I think of myself as like a fairly cynical person, and that was so much more cynical than how I would have described farming. Like, you're just like, well, I'm in the Ponzi business, and it's pretty good.
At no point did any of this require any sort of like economic case. It's just like, other people put money in the box, and so I'm going to too, and then it's more valuable, so I'm going to put more money in. And at no point in the cycle did it seem to like describe any sort of like economic purpose.
Can you comment on like the sustainability?
They're just now laughing at the fact that he described what he's been doing, and he's calling it a Ponzi scheme. And this is in April, and he described the whole thing. I'll let you hear the last little bit because they want to know, how sustainable is this Ponzi scheme? How long can this continue with just having this box that you call a token that people just putting money in because they think it's worth something, and you're able to take money out? How sustainable is it? It's the last piece.
That
yeah,
because on the one hand you're like, well, $1 trillion of institutional money is going to come into Bitcoin. On the other hand, you're like, basically there are a lot of Ponzi's that have done really well.
Right. So okay, cool. I'll stay on the cynical route. Think about like cynically what could happen here. Well, okay, so you've got, this box is kind of dumb, but like what's the end game, right? This box is worth 0, obviously, and like that, you can't like keep this market cap or something. But on the other hand, if everyone kind of now thinks that this box token is worth about $1 billion market cap, that's what people are pricing it at, and it sort of has that market cap. Everyone's going to market to market. In fact, you can even finance this, right? You can put X token in a borrow lending protocol and borrow dollars with it. If you think it's worth like less than 2/3 of that, you could even just like put some in there, take the dollars out, and never give the dollars back. You just get liquidated eventually. And it is.
He just said you could take the fake token, the box, and you could borrow money on it and never have to pay it back. They liquidate it later, and all they'll have is the box. He just said that. Listen to the rest.
These sort of like real monetizable stuff in some senses. And, at some point, like if the world never decides that we were wrong about this in like a coordinated way, right? Like you're kind of the guy calling bullshit and saying, no, this thing's actually worthless. But in what sense are you right? So certainly some of them are unsustainable, and some of them are, many of them by number, end exactly the way you'd think that they would, right? Like the way these end is that like eventually people decide that this is no longer today's cool box, this is yesterday's lame box, and they go down a lot in price, and then people sort of move on to box number 2, And if everyone did a careful accounting of where they ended up, I don't know, would they have made money? Would they not have? It's a little unclear. Like some people would have, some people wouldn't have. It's sort of messy. And that's like certainly how some of these quickly end up.
If the world never thinks that you're doing something wrong, it could go in this way and that way. And he just described the whole Ponzi scheme that he did. And that was right there while the prime minister was sitting next to him and Jerome Fitzgerald was flying with him all over the world. All they had to do was go right there and Google, and they would have seen him say, hey, this is a Ponzi scheme, and this is what I'm doing, because I'm so smart. The people in the Bahamas are dumb, and I can pull the wool over their head, and they're going to do whatever I say. Jesus Lord, I don't know. And when you here's him and Sam Brady.
What's up, guys? I'm here with my boy Sam from FTX. We're at Crypto Bahamas conference. We're going to start the day. We're going to do some TikToks for you guys, and it's going to be an amazing day. We'll get started. We'll do a get ready
Act
with
like
me.
a child. It's gone.
Sam, where you going, bro?
Just I don't know what to say. But he just came here, and everyone said they're in. And Tom Brady did a commercial, and got everyone, including Brave Davis and his whole entourage, to say we're in. Here they are.
Can I talk to you about something?
Yeah, we talked about it. I got another 10 years left, maybe 15.
Not that. This is big. What do you think? Are you in?
You know what? I'm in. Let's call everyone.
Hang on a minute. How dare you call this number? Okay, I'm in. Whatever. Who's that? That was my mom. Hey, don't eat that. Yo, what's up? Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm in.
I'm in. Hey, Arthur, I quit.
I'm in.
T-Bone, is it the downstairs toilet again?
Hello, Tom. Doggy coin? Sue, Mark.
Are you in? I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in. All right, this last one might be tough.
Nah, he loves you.
Probably just getting another dentist. This guy. First, even if you wanted to come back, we wouldn't take you.
Yes, you would.
Yeah, we would.
You're right, we would. What's up?
I'm getting into crypto. With FTX. You in?
What we're providing gives 360-degree access to the crypto markets with the ability to trade everything from alts to DeFi. I believe I'm in, but still hate you.
Understood.
Take care. Best of the family.
Is he in?
Yep.
Did he say he hates you?
He did.
Even on the phone, that guy sounds handsome.
That
I'm in too. Everyone else is in. Brave in. Everyone else, I in too. I really don't get it. But that's what took over our country, and that's what swept through our country as our prime minister put everything in place that he needed. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to skip over now to another part of this. We have the documents. We have conveyances, all kind of documents. We have so much properties that they bought, some that wasn't even exposed. We have a lot of documents. We can't go through all today. I don't know. We can't go through all. We have so much documents. We have documents on Allison Maynard. I'll save that for another time. Somehow we make these politicians. Let's kind of save that. Oh Lord. let's see if we get another device on so I could show them. Because there's a lot of papers here. I couldn't scan all them up so y'all could see them. So I had to keep them in paper form. I don't know how we're gonna do this, but we'll try. All right, we'll try to work this out for you. Um, why is it getting so slow? You know what? I have a device in front of me. Let me see if I can do it on this device in front of me. All right, so we'll have two devices. Um, Allison, this is how powerful it is to be in politics, you know. Okay, we got two up. Let's see how we could fix this. Light is bright. See if it'll work on paper. All right, we got two devices up. There's some files on Allison Maynard. Let me see how good you can see that. I can't see it good. The light's too bright, man. Oh, and it's backwards. That ain't gonna work. This showing where this is showing where. Let me see if I can get it up on another device. Thought that would have worked. This is showing where back in like 1995 and and stuff around there. Allison Maynard was borrowing like $5,000 from Commonwealth Bank and stuff. Now today, these people are like billionaires in this country. It's like these people go from having very little to like they have it all, and that's what politics seems to do in this country. Save that for later. I want to show you all some stuff. The plenty of these politicians, they got rich through politics. I want you to know and understand that. Trying to pull up another device so I can show you all some of these documents. I don't know if y'all ready for this. Okay, device is coming up. Just get it in there. Mute. Volume. Okay, we're trying to pull up another device. Okay, there it is. Okay, we're going to get that in there. There you are. Let's get that one off. Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There was no sound. There was no sound on there. I humbly apologize. Let's see how we could do this. Let's get rid of that. I'll just let you see the document. Let's switch that over. I'm sorry. I was saying to you that we have a bunch of documents in front of us. Sorry, it's backwards. We have a bunch of documents in front of us, and all of them is in Allison Maynard's law firm. It's called Clementi Maynard and Company. That's the little rope a dope. I put let it be named after her brother so you don't see her. And all of these millions and millions of dollars of transaction, all of them, some are in FTX name, some is in his parents' name, Sam's parents' name, some is in Sam's name. We have all of these. All right. But all of them are right here. Look at how much millions these are. All right. And you're gonna be interesting to see the people that millions. All right. I know it's backwards, but I'm sorry. Nothing else I could do. All right, let me see if I get that straight for you. Okay, that's 7 million there. That's 30 million right there. I got the 30 million conveyance. I'm going to show you in a minute. 5.5 million. All of these millions and millions. This is more than they told you about previously, and we even have more. We can't show you all today, but we have even more. Millions and millions of properties. All right. This is an interesting one. We're researching who Bayside Estates is. We're searching who that is because of whose name is on it. A famous PLP name is on it. See some other people here, so y'all might could text me if y'all know who these people are. One is David Doherty, sorry. David Doherty. If y'all could tell me who David Doherty is, just text me and let me know. JMK Investments in there. Gregory Curry. Anyone know Gregory Curry? Who's Gregory Curry? Anyone who that is? Gregory Curry. You got someone yesterday make up these names. Long Island Diamonds Limited. All right. So who are these people? And so we got some stuff to show you all. It's very interesting. Just want to go through these. I have. Okay, let's see which one we'll go to first. What we got here? What we got here? Oh yeah. Y'all, I think y'all want to see the $30 million one. There it is. This the $30 million one. Because he's a foreigner, he actually applies to get it registered. He applies to the International Persons Landholding Act. He applies to the investment board in order to own this property. And see it here, it says to FTX property holdings, and it says all that penthouse number 6, the Marina residence at Albany, the condominium, Western District, etc. And it says this permit validates the conveyance dated January 18th. This is what's so serious. This was dated January 18th. That's when he put in. That's when the conveyance happened, January 18th, and they got permission from the investment board, and that's January 18, 2022. In March 4th. So they applied January. They got the conveyance in January 18, and then they got permission to own the property on March 4th, 2022. That's like extremely fast for anyone who knows anything about the industry. That's almost impossible. That's unheard of. That shows that there was some help he was getting behind the scene. All right. So there's a lot of documents here. And so all the facts, I have the whole conveyance. The stamp tax, of course, you can see, I'm showing you everything on the side here. Stamp tax exempted. That's what that's right there. Stamp tax exempted. You can see the document there. There it is. The law firm is James O. Laurel. That's because that's the purchaser's lawyer. And they paid VAT. And the VAT they paid was 10%. So the government got 10% on it. So the government also made some big money on this, and that's why they was putting stuff through. And so this the whole document. I can't go through the whole thing, but there's a lot of stuff in here. We got to do this over a couple of days. Just some interesting stuff I wanted to show y'all. That's the $30 million one. All right. And this the conveyance. And then there's another one here I wanted to show you. All right. There's another one here I wanted to show you. These two conveyances right here. All right. That's the easement. But this is a conveyance. This is the one he did for his parents. So he's putting stuff in other people's name. This is Alan Joseph Bankman. Let me make sure I get this on there for you. Alan Joseph Bankman. That's the daddy. And Barbara, that is Helen Freed. So this is the other document. This is the other conveyance. And this is from the 30th of June 2022. The receipt number and everything. They got a $16.4 million property. When asked about this, they are saying that they trying to give the property back. That's what they're saying. They're trying to give the property back. Too late. Because the property is from the proceeds of crime. Oh, I forget I can turn this. Let me see if I can turn this sideways and see if that. Let me see if that works better. Let's see. Yeah, that's much better. Yeah, much better. Okay. Let's pull that away. Oops. Hold on. I'm sorry. Messed something up. Give me one sec. Oh boy. Should be back up in a sec. There we go. Is that it? Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is another document. I know is mirrored. I'm so sorry for that. And you're hearing feedback. But this is $16 million property that the parents bought. All right, $16 million. All right, now let's go and look into this. This property is in Old Fort Bay. They bought a piece of property in Old Fort Bay. All right, and as you can see, who's on this? Clement T. Maynard and Company. $16 million. All right, that's the back cover. And so here they are. So exempt. So the stamp tax exempt. All right, and where are we? I'm trying to work through this. And the government got $1.64 million in VAT from this transaction. All right, $1.64 million. There it is. All right, and so this is the whole document. And you can see their signatures, Barbara and Helen Freed. So I guess they was in town. So that's Barbara, Helen Freed, and that's the husband right there, Joseph. And that's the witness at the bottom. I'm sorry, I'm trying to work through these pages. Felipe, whoever that is. Now, Calvin, if y'all know who that is, let us know who that is. Okay, we got another document here. Latitude 25 Inc. Sold. Oh, they gave just another situation here. That's another conveyance there. I want you to see the one. It's an interesting one. Let me see. What is this? That's the other one. Let me see this one here. Okay. This one here is the property where they were putting the headquarters, right? It says the construction of the company headquarters, and this is where they got the permission. But for all of these documents, I wanted you to see how fast they were getting these. I'm sorry I'm fumbling through these, but this conveyance is in January 19th, and they got this authorization in February 15th, in a month. That is unheard of. That is absolutely unheard of in the Bahamas. So January 19th is a conveyance, and somehow they were able to, in our system, get this thing from the investment authority that fast. But what's interesting in this is, the interesting thing in this is, and Lord, I see Sabah's name and Pete DeVoe from Island Game name all through these documents. I guess we'll have to get to that another time. All right. I wanted to see who, because in this one, the common seal, I just got to read it. I can't see how to make you see this. The common seal of Bayside Estates Limited was affixed hereby by Diane C. Bo Pinlin. This O.B. Pinlin wife. O.B. Pinlin is the son of Sir Lyndon Pinlin, the father of the nation. And so they are apparently doing the selling. So we need to figure out who Bayside is. All right. And so I have all the documents with the properties and where they are and everything. I don't want to go through all these today, but I just thought it was extremely interesting that I was seeing a bunch of number men and that kind of stuff all over this. You know, Pete DeVoe, it's a PLP. Let me get this back up here. Okay. Let me turn it off. I just wanted. Okay. You have a lot of documents here, and it took too long, so I'm going to break some more stuff down on Sunday for you. The PLP's hands is all over this in every way. We need a commission of inquiry immediately. We need a commission of inquiry. The PLP's hands is all over this. And our country is suffering. Our country is going crazy. While these fellas made millions, that law firm made money from the sale of these properties. The government made money from the sale of these properties. The government made money from the sale of the property with the stolen money. It was stolen money, and the government benefited from it. PLP persons benefited from it. I'm going to open the phone line quick. I don't want to go too late tonight. I just wanted you to see some stuff. Now, you heard it themselves. The government, the Bahamas Securities Commission said it themselves, that they do not have a minimum requirement. They did not have a minimum requirement for SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, to open up his company here. They did not have a capital requirement for him. He could have come with $1 or nothing. And so we need to make this make sense. We need to make this make sense. You know, and we need our media to start doing some digging. We're seeing media from all around the world getting this right. We're seeing media dig and find stuff. Media is finding these papers just like how I have them. But our media is like, I don't understand. They're just repeating whatever Brave Davis say. Well, Brave Davis says no. They're just regurgitating whatever members of parliament say that is not how you do reporting. You hear what he has to say, and then you show the reality. Jesus. The phone line is open, 804-4264. Let me tell you what, let me hear what you think about all of this. 804-4264. Let me hear what you have to say about this. 804-4264. Call in now. We have a couple minutes on the phone before we get out of here. 804-4264. Call us. 804-4264. We got to get to these documents another time because I took too long with all these videos. 804-4264 is the number. So call us in. Let me hear what you have to say about all of this. All right, let me get this started up for you. 804-4264. The PLP benefited greatly from all of this that you saw. The PLP benefited greatly. I have documents here for Sam Bankman-Fried, document here for his parents, documents here for other companies, other persons. What is this? Ryan Salami or whatever his name is on documents here. But guess what? The police in the Bahamas have not even spoken to him yet. They've not even spoken to him. Come on, y'all call me. Let's talk. See what y'all have to see what y'all have to say. How you feel about all of this? How you feel about the Bahamas being embarrassed like this? Where do you think we need to go from here? Y'all want more of the PLP and the F&M? Huh? All of this money made, and they still waiting for someone to build the airport in Freeport. They made more than enough money to build the airport. They could ask Sam to do all this money he was spending. Sam knew that his company was about to fail, so he left Hong Kong where he would be dealt with severely, and he came to the Bahamas where he could trick us. He was looking to use our carbon credits. The government was going to put all his carbon credits in there, and if it worked, then it would have been fine. If not, what he was doing was he came here to take money out and launder it by buying properties, hiding it in properties. That's what Sam was up to. Allison Maynard's law firm facilitated it. The Progressive Liberal Party facilitated it. They aided and abetted him in everything that he was doing. And they set up a regime where there was no accountability. The lady, Ms. Roll from the Securities Commission, literally said they left it up to Sam to determine what he wanted to do, to determine his capital requirements or whatever. That came out of her mouth. They left it up to the company to govern themselves. And you have the Prime Minister blaming the international community, saying, oh, those speaking against us is only because they want to control the liquidation. What kind of nonsense is this? Oh, we keep getting blacklisted because we're a black nation. Oh, the Prime Minister stood up for us. No. He stood up for him and his corrupt people because he knows the real reason why we're being blacklisted. He knows it. I'm sorry, I know you tried to call in just now. You can call back. 804-4264. Y'all don't want to talk to me tonight. Eh? Come, y'all, let's talk. I've been talking for 2 hours. Come, y'all time to talk. Let me hear from the Bahamian people about how you feel about all of this nonsense. You can call on WhatsApp or you can call on the regular line. I didn't check to see if this was on silent, which sometimes it normally is. I heard something just now. Come, y'all, let's talk. Y'all, let's talk. I want the government to hear how y'all feel about this. Not just about how I feel. I want them to hear how y'all feel about all of this. I want them to hear your mouth. Let's go. I'm answering. Good afternoon, you're live. Right.
And there's like this Ponzi scheme written all over this.
Yeah.
And for the government to be so gullible or so foolish, have such lack of insight, now give the whole country a bad rap as if every behemoth here is nothing but a bunch of crooks and criminals. And this like a big smear on our face in the international arena.
Yeah.
And then they acting like they don't know what's going on. It goes to shows me. You see, I think they all had it made with this FTX thing, And if you ask me, they were going to give our carbon credit to them to prop up that FTT token. They think they had it made, but God just allowed things to just explode and burst open. So, because I cannot see the light of this, and we the human people wasn't going to benefit from it anyway. Not from what I'm gathering.
Wow.
But I was sitting back and watching the sparks fly, and I want to see. You know what? Some people need to go to jail.
Now you know what you're not going to see tomorrow. You're not going to see the media cover any of this. You're not going to see the media look back and say, oh, wow, there was no capital requirements for SBF. We did not have a strong regulatory platform framework in order to protect the public out there, the public at large. You're not going to see that in the media.
Exactly.
Because they're going to hide and cover up.
Exactly. And this makes us look. It's just. Man, the handwritings are all over the wall.
Yeah.
You know what? I think it's time, people. We need to just stand up and demand this whole corrupt crew to be gone, all at one time. Anyway, I can finish watching.
Thank you for your call. Up now. All right. You know, and while we're just finishing that scandal, another scandal that just popped up in the papers today. Developer sues the government for $3 billion. Sues the Bahamian government. Yeah, you got to pay that. The developer sues the Bahamian government for $3 billion. This is our Bahamian government interfering. Maybe he didn't pay his mafia taxes. Maybe he didn't pay his what you're supposed to pay. I don't know. I don't know what's happening there. But we from one scandal to the next. Did y'all really expect anything different from Philip Grave Davis and the BLP? And I'm shocked. You know, I hear people, they just did 18 more homes in Pinecrest, and people are so impressed with that. Listen, man, that's your crown land. We just sell back to you. Your crown land. And that's 18 more homes that our homes made money from. That's who benefiting. That's who making the billions. Good afternoon, you're live. Good afternoon, you're live. Okay, we lost them. That's who making money from that. We're in serious problems in this country, y'all. We got to decide to sign up and fix this. Like I said to you, I'll be here hanging out on Thursday if you want to come and talk to me. You want to come get your food, it's only $15. Get your turkey, etc., etc. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be eating lots and lots of turkey. Don't let me eat all. Lots and lots of turkey. You can come get some of yours too. All right. So you can also in Grand Bahama go to the taxi union, and that's where they'll be set up there also at the taxi union. Go get your food. There's only $10 in Grand Bahama. That's almost like charity. But here we'll in Nassau we'll be at the Pinewood headquarters, and you can come and get your food. Support the movement, man. Bahamas, I don't know how much more this y'all want to take, but we need vision. We need serious solution, and we need vision for what's going on in this country. And I got about 30 seconds left. I just want to say to you that we can do this. They're going to put up a serious campaign to fight against me. They're going to try any way to discredit me and destroy me because we expose exactly what's going on. What we're doing here is what the media should be doing. I didn't have time, so I didn't even go into these really for you, to show you. But I think you've seen enough. The last live I showed you, and the one before that these people own shares in some companies. This was a whole scam, and the Bahamas government is complicit in this. And that is why they ran. and that's how we feel, and made him bring the money to the Bahamas to say they holding it for safekeeping. No, they holding that because they invested. They said they was working with Sam. You working with the criminal? Seriously? Something going on, and we got to fight. All right. Sometimes someone says, "What time the cookout start in Freeport?" Anyone know? All right, you'll find out quickly what time it start. I guess 12 o'clock. I don't know. They're gonna find out in a second. What time does it start in Nassau? It starts 11 in Nassau, so they'll be ready for 11 here in Nassau. Ladies and gentlemen, all I envision and all I want is a country that's free of corruption and a country where we can put Bahamians first. We are under attack and under invasion at every level, everywhere you look. We have had 50 years in this country. 50 years. Look at the center of our country, downtown Nassau. It is an embarrassment. 50 years. Look at it. Do you see anything to smile about? Look at the roads in this country as they break up your car. Do you see anything to smile about? Look at our hospital in 50 years. Look at it. Do you see anything to smile about? And I say this because they're preparing a celebration, a 50-year celebration, and boy, they know how to party. They can spend some money on that. But I wish they would spend that money on some things we really need around here. Look at our electricity system. Oh, and by the way, that Securities Commission live that they had, they said they were gonna have a party in January. We can see if they still have it. That's what they told the people. They're gonna have a celebration, a big thing, invite them down or whatever, and they're gonna celebrate. That's what they said. Look at our electricity system. Look at our healthcare system. Look at our education system. 50 years. 50 years. When you gotta want more than this. The only thing the politicians do is what benefits them and their cronies, what they can make money from, what they're interested in. That's why we're so backwards. They don't wake up like the leaders in Dubai and Qatar and these other and Norway and see how they can better the society. They only do what they can make money from. And they make you feel they're doing this for the greater good. Oh, we're gonna have we're gonna do a travel visa to safeguard our people and to safeguard our nation. No. You was doing that. The funnel money. That's minister. He's doing money. This the funnel money. So in Grand Bahama, the price is $10. It's going to start. I don't see the time. Oh, 12 noon, 12 to 5. It's going to start 12 to 5. It's going to be the Taxi Union building on the airport road in Grand Bahama. Okay. So if you're in Grand Bahama, that's where it's going to be. And we're coming, so stay tuned. We're coming the first week in December. We're going to be in Grand Bahama. So make sure you're there. Come out and support us. We're going to be forming our branches. We're getting organized in Grand Bahama because we got to take Grand Bahama back. That is the jewel of this country. Look at Grand Bahama, 50 years. Look at it. Look at it. Go look around. PLP, FNM, FNM, PLP, PLP, FNM, FNM, PLP. Look at it. Anything is better than this. What do you have to lose? I have some documents which show all of the property sales in Cat Island. Listen, them foreigners buying up Cat Island like you wouldn't believe. Cat Island gone. Sunday, I will show you the documents. All you can see is foreigners buying up the whole thing. They selling out everything. Exuma? You're better to grab your land, your crown land, etc., etc. It's just giving away everything. Wake up, Bahamas. Wake up before it's too late. 50 years. They're going to try to find some things to make us proud about next year. We could have been so further ahead. We have a leader who don't even have a digital wallet, but they promoting sand dollar. They promoting sand dollar, but he don't even have sand dollar. He don't have a digital wallet. And we don't understand why we so backwards in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for tuning in. I'm going to be back. Unless something serious happens, I'm going to be back on Sunday. On Thursday. We'll just give you an update from Thursday. I'm going to be here hanging out. I'm going to eat lots and lots of ham and turkey. We need change, man. We're going to bring this change. Stand up and fight with me. If you want to donate to our women's shelter, last set of work just got finished in one of them today. If you want to donate, you have sofas, chairs, whatever you think that we may need, sheets, pillows, whatever you think we may need. Our women are sleeping on the streets 50 years later. We have women and children sleeping in their cars and parking lot in Nassau. No help. We're going to do what we can. 50 years later, Bahamians still don't own our number one industry. Bahamians still don't own our number two industry. 50 years later, what y'all bragging about? The number one industry is tourism. Bahamians don't own the number one industry. The number two industry. In fact, they still have a law that you can't own the casino hotel. The number two industry, offshore banking. Bahamians still don't own that. You can't even have a bank account. They brought SPF and FTX here bragging about crypto, but they're not letting you participate. And people are clapping and smiling because of that. Wake up! You are a slave! Wake up! Let's get off this plantation, man. It's 50 years. We should have owned the hotels and the casinos by now. We should have owned the offshore banks by now. We should have owned this nation. Right now, you have a prime minister who is pandering to illegal immigrants. I don't know. They say his mother changed her last name from Pierre. We need change. See you all on Thursday. I'm going to be here. And next week, next weekend, we're going to be over there in Grand Bahama. Join our branches. Be a part of the fight. I can't win this by myself. We can't win this by ourselves. If y'all want change, we got to make this change. Come out. Be a part of it. Be a part of the change. That's the only way we're going to see something different. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure being here. Please share this live. Cut up whatever you got to cut up, screen record, send it to your friends and family. Sit down with them and make them watch it if you have to. There's enough evidence to see that we're in trouble. We're in trouble. That was our fault. Nobody else. Brave man up. Accept the wrong and let's try to fix it. Stop blaming everyone else. Let's fix this country. In fact, just step down and let us show you what to do. Get and get lost. It's time for change. Lastly, I want to say to Fred Mitchell, I'm going to spank you up this time. All of y'all need to step aside. This one video, this is a bonus video I'm going to show you. Let me see if I have it ready for y'all. I got a bonus video to show you all with Fred Mitchell. And this shows you why they have a certain thinking in the Progressive Liberal Party. And this shows you where these people's heads are in the Progressive Liberal Party. and to show you why we need change in this country. Because we keep swinging back and forth, and going nowhere. Just getting swinged every time. Watch this. I'm sorry, it's going to take a minute to come up. Oh, God. I should have that ready for y'all. But this Fred Mitchell at a meeting, he didn't know he was being recorded. This Fred is video recording him. He's talking about the Progressive Liberal Party and how every time they out of power, they ain't got no money. Watch this.
But the question is economics. And we only, as a party, think about this when we lose. Because when we lose, the party can barely survive because no one has any money to contribute to the party to get back on its feet. And we must make the decisions in my mind.
He says that whenever they lose, the party can barely survive because no one got no money. What they're telling you, when they're in power, they take all the money, they make all the money. Guess what they do with it? While they're making it, they spend it. When they're in power, they make the money. That's how close-minded these people are. But he's saying they got to shift that. They got to have enough money to last. So when they're out of power, that they can keep the party going. So tired of talking. Tired of talking. Tired of talking. We got to do something in this country. We got to do something. If we don't do something, this beautiful thing that you come to know and love, it's going to be gone. Tired of talking. These fellas making all the money and spending it. All that money Pillin made, in the end, Ingram still paid off his mortgage and paid off his health bills. Where the money going? They was balling. They doing what you see Brave doing. What are you doing? Balling. Just partying, having fun, just living. While we suffering. That's the culture. They don't even think about later today, let alone tomorrow. That's why the country is in the state that is in. One more video when you see the night going. Let's see if this video come up. One more. This is the state of the nation. This is the state that we in. In Abaco, all this stuff going on. They had shelters and the hurricane was coming. And this is the MP for Pinewood. Right? The flooding still going on. They say they're going to fix it. Still going on. This is the MP for Pinewood. He is listing off the shelters. And all of a sudden, the Haitians got shelter. Listen.
15 shelters were activated. There were a total of 841 individuals there. This count includes persons at two unofficial shelters, namely the New Haitian Mission Baptist Church and the New Haitian Baptist Church. It's two different churches. Bimini, there were two shelters that were
Y'all in trouble. Y'all in trouble. That's all I got to say with that. Someone say, why Fred uses money? Fred ain't got no money. If you ever see Fred had a real job, his whole life, just career politician. Ladies and gentlemen, I leave you with the words of a wise man.
I don't know how you did this in 50 years. You look at history. Who does this? Show me anybody else that has done this in 50 years. I'm waiting. Show them to me. This wasn't done by money. Money doesn't produce visions. Visions produce money. You've had leadership over here that were visionaries, great visionaries, and their vision was more about the people than the money, because you can't accomplish this in 50 years without loving your people first, because the people are the ones that's benefiting from this. Look at your health care. Look at your road system. Look at your highway system. Look at your airports. Who does this in 50 years? But who benefits? You're going to care about those people. It's something to be learned about what's been done over here that could be duplicated in the world, because there's people with this much money. You just don't have people with this much love for their people.
Ladies and gentlemen, change is not coming, change is here. See you next.